here we go, the start of OP13, and the first leader we are covering today is going to be Jewelry Bonney. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Mabi here, and today I'm going to be giving you my personal deck profile for this yellow Jewelry Bonney leader that comes out in OP13. The game plan here is to be aggressive as possible. Throwing out characters with triggers allows you to put 2 Rested Dawn on characters. You have some amazing new great Egghead support card, especially these late game Stussies and these amazingly late game Jewelry Bonnies. We're going to be covering everything in this video breakdown. If you just want the deck profile, I recommend pausing the video, heading on over to my website MabiTCG.com. There you can get this deck and many others in image and text format. So you remember, this is just going to be my personal take. It's alright if you disagree. As a matter of fact, help us make the deck better. If you know of any better tech, what would you add or what you would remove. All right, so let's go ahead and get started talking about every single card, starting with the leader. So this is going to be Bonney here, Egghead Bonney Pirates OP13, 5000 special with 5 life, being a mono yellow. Your ability is once per turn during your turn. This effect can be activated when you play a character with a trigger. Give up to 2 Rested Dawn cards to your leader or one of your characters. Now, when this leader first got announced, a lot of people were like, why isn't this a red-yellow leader? Because this is a very, very aggressive card here. All right, so let's talk about the deck, and as you can guess, a lot of the cards are going to be trigger. Now, remember, it specifically says character, so you're gonna be seeing here only these 2 are events, and the rest of the cards in the deck are going to be characters. Now, there is some pretty decent cards you can put in here that I'm not putting in, such as the the Robin one that also search for triggers, but I'd rather just have more characters because it is a character-centric deck. Anyway, the first card here is You're the One Who Should Disappear from OP06. This is one cost 0. Counter, trash 1 card from your hand. Up to one of your leader or characters gains 3000 power during this battle. Now, you do have a lot of triggers in the deck. You have a small amount of bricks, but still, in a yellow deck, I still feel really safe running at least 2 to 3 of these because the trigger is just so good. If this is the last life, when this is triggered, you get to heal 1, but also trash 1. It's just a really good way of, having that extra comeback mechanic, All right, time for the first new card from OP13, Lilith, Scientist Egghead 121. So on play, you're going to be looking at the top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal 1 card with a trigger other than Lilith and add it to your hand and place the rest of the bomb. Now, this is a really great card, obviously, for the leader because you have a lot of trigger. But if you think about it, this thing is not locked on anything, and the trigger here is activated, it's on play. If you're running a yellow deck with a lot of triggers, you might just end up running this specific card just because it's very general. It's that crazy of a card. That's why it's rare here. So super crazy good. So you can play this on your first turn. You can actually, when you play any card with trigger, you can give 2 to your leader. It doesn't really do anything. However, if you are playing it on turn 2 with 3 or 4 Dawn, you can play this, have 3 Dawn left over to do other stuff. And then, well, you want to play the other cards first. Otherwise, you might not have the 2 Rested Dawn to put on your leader. So keep that in mind. It's still really good to play on turn 1. Amazing. Now, the other card. So this one is really good just as a trigger general card, but here it's going to be this specific card from OP07 that also searches for Egghead. Lilith, Scientist Egghead, same stuff here. 350 on play, top 5, 1 Egghead other than Lilith, so it cannot search for itself. This one cannot search for itself either, but you have a lot of other Egghead cards in here, and then you put it in your hand. The rest go to the bottom. Really amazing, great card because you get to throw it on the field very cheap. If you are going on turn 2, you're spending 3 with 3 Dawn or 4 Dawn. Then you can go ahead and honestly, if you go seconds, you play this for 3, put 2 Dawn on your leader, attack for 7, and then with your extra 1 Dawn, you can play this one, and you can have 2 searches of 1 turn. It's really good going second. Even going first is completely fine. Turn 2, you have 3 Dawn. You activate this, 2 Dawn your leader, attack for 7. Really good against against those leaders, especially that have base 6000k damage. So this leader is super aggressive because a lot of your cards that you are playing with trigger have a lot of value. If this thing gets KO'd after the turn or 2 after your opponent, it already paid for itself. They attacked into it, you probably got an attack off, and also they have to not attack your leader. The trigger here is if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. So unfortunately, the trigger will not work with the leader. However, it is still a trigger to activate the leader ability, but you can't play it off of the trigger, but it's completely fine. It's still a really good deck, especially if you're running a lot of Egghead, because your late game Eggheads are searchable by this card. So you really still want to run this even if the trigger doesn't work. All right, next card is going to be Jewelry Bonney. This one came out in OP08. This one was supposed to supplement Vegapunk, but as you see here, because you have to have a Dawn attached, this thing really complements this new Bonney leader as well. So OP08, Bonney 3/4/1 with 1 Dawn attached during your turn once per turn. When your opponent loses a life, draw 2 cards and discard 1 from your hand. Now it says when they lose a life, not if they specifically take damage. So if you have this on the field, you have 1 Dawn attached and you attack into them normally, they take a hit, you draw 2, trash 1. Or if you have something like that A cost Eustace Kid, you know, where they trash a card, same thing. When they lose a life as well from this card here, which makes it so they take a card, technically you are losing a life, so that will also go off. Now this is a pretty versatile card because you put 1 Dawn attached, you can attack for 5, no problem. Also, even if at the turn you play it, you can still play it, put 1 Dawn on, like if you're going second, right, 4 Dawn, put the extra Dawn on her, put 2 Dawn because this is a trigger card, put on your leader, attack for 7, and if your opponent takes it because it's going to be pretty early game, then boom, you're going to be able to draw 2, trash 2 with this combined with your leader ability. It's super powerful, and later on, it doesn't necessarily say that you have to give the 2 Dawn to your leader. You can also give it to one of your characters, so you can also, on the turn that this can attack later on, you can give it more as well. Super amazing card. Trigger here, draw 2 and trash 1. Just, oh god, it's super powerful. It wasn't that good in the Vegapunk deck, but now it's super crazy good with the leader that can actually attack. Starting 3 of these. Alright, time for another new card. Edison OP13 3/2/2. Activate main. You can trash this character, then if you have less life cards than your opponent, draw 1 card, then rest up to one of their 3s. You're usually never going to use this ability. I would say it's probably even better in the Vegapunk deck, but it's here because it's a 3 cost with a trigger and it's a Scientist Egghead. You can technically play it with your 3 Dawn and then leave it on the board. You don't have to activate this. You can activate it later because it will allow you to use your leader ability to put 2 on to attack, even though you can always use the 3, but then you get to draw 1 card with this. So it's up to you. It'll come into small scenarios where you have to rest a 3 cost in order to go over a game, you know. All right, time for some Bages now. This is an Egghead. You're not going to be able to search for this with this, but guess what? You can search for it with this, and that's why it's so good. All right, Beige 3/3/2. Nothing here. Trigger is up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters cannot attack. Insanely good, amazing trigger since the card's been out. Amazingly good. And it's one of the very few decks that can cards that can actually be searched from this now, like in a really good general sense. So we're gonna be seeing. I'm honestly think we're gonna see a lot of this. This is absolutely good in the Nico Robin deck too, which I'll probably remake because there's a lot of good support. All right. Another new card, Snake, OP13 4/5/1. So on play, then on the future turn when attacking, you can turn to one of your life cards face up, which you have 5, that's really good. Give up to one of your opponent's characters -2,000 power during this turn. So if your opponent has a rested character and you're playing this kind of on curve, feel free to on play, put the top up, and then attack into it. Really nice. Although it's always a threat just having that extra thing right there. And if you already have a life face up, you already have 5, just take a hit upcoming soon and then you'll be able to activate it again. But you do have another card later on that will absolutely help you heal, so you can activate it on a future turn without having to take a hit. The trigger here is trash 1 cards from your hand to play this. This is really good. I would say even if you are not able to use the ability to give someone -2,000 to remove an attack, you can still trash and play. Absolutely good at just having the extra Bonney on the board. 1, 2, 3. And remember, every character with trigger will activate this. So almost every single turn, 7,000, 7,000, minimum 7,000. Almost every single turn scenario. It's insanely good. Okay, Kikunojo, one of my favorite cards. OP06 4/6/0. When this is KO'd, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. So this gets KO'd, you heal. Really nice. The trigger here, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play this card. Amazingly good. I would love playing this on curve because you just throw a big body on the board. Your opponent can't KO it unless they want to heal, and then at the same turn you just put 2,000 on here. 2,000, 2 Dawn, and then you just start whacking things. It's insane. So running 3 of these. 4 of these. Just kidding. I'm running 4. Okay, Frankie. It says straight Egghead Straw Hat. So because remember, anything with Egghead can also be searched by this one, but it's a trigger, so it could also be searched by this Lilith. All right, 452. The trigger here is draw one card. Then if you have one or less life, play this card. It's a really nice trigger. Obviously, when you have one or less life, it's really good because you can actually play it. However, you can still use the trigger when you play with 5 or 4 life, 3 life as well. You won't get it to your hand, and you will not keep the 2K. However, the ability is draw one card. So if you are missing a few key pieces for your upcoming turns and you hit this trigger, feel free to just simply trash this and draw one card. All right. Next is going to be Luffy from OP07, another Egghead with trigger, so searchable by both your searching cards. 561, activate main, trash this character if you have 2 or less life with, so you have 5. It's going to be a while so you can hit this, but you usually are using it towards the late game anyway, so don't worry about that. KO up to one of your characters with 4 or less, then draw one card. Now, because you are using this towards the late game, ideally, hopefully you can get an attack off or 2, like attack, then activate its ability to take off something from the board and to draw one card, etc. The trigger here is KO up to an opponent's cost with 4 or less. Same deal. Pretty nice. So running 3 of these. Now it's Nami. Trigger, Egghead, searchable by both. 551. On play, trash one card with trigger in your hand. You have a million triggers. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Even better than this Luffy because it's plus 1 more cost. Then if your hand at the time has 3 or less cards, you draw one card. I wouldn't worry too much about the bottom portion of 3 or less cards. If you are able to get rid of a big threat, absolutely play this card. You remove one card to remove one of theirs, which they pay Dawn for. Absolutely worth it, and then they get rid of it. The trigger here is activate this plays on play. So this card's on play. Remember, that means you don't get to keep the card. You just activate her on play, and then this goes right to the trash. But it's still really nice. It's also a trigger, so leader ability once again. Okay. Time for S Snaku from OP08 561. On play, up to one of your opponent's characters that cost 6 or less other than any Luffy cards cannot attack until the end of your opponent's turn. It's just nice to have a little bit of extra, you know, power, a little bit of oomph, because yeah, these zombies are nice, but they're at 5,000, while these S Snakes are at 6,000. Nice. And the trigger here is activated on play's effect. We're running a lot of 5s in here because our 7 cost Stussy allows us to drop a 5-drop. That's why we're running this in here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so Bartholomew, and really quick, guys, I was thinking, I'm not sure if I want to run the 5 cost, oh, what the hell is that robot card? The 5 cost blocker, because the trigger is activate, like if your leader is a Vegapunk, play this card. So I've been messing around with this, and I don't think you really need that card, because I'd rather have just more of like, you know, more attack, more extra abilities to KO. So you know, if you want to add those blockers, feel free. Just I'm just messing around, trying without it for a while. All right, here's Kuma, OP12 671. On play, trash one card, then you heal 1. Then this character gains +2 cost until the end of the opponent's turn. Not relevant in the deck. It's just +2 more, making it an 8 for defensive purposes. Then when this character is KO'd, you get to heal. It's just a better Kikunojo. Really good for the deck, especially because you are a 5 life leader with a lot of triggers. So if you have a pretty decent board state, you can go ahead and play this. It won't activate your ability for the turn, but you know, you don't need to use it every turn. Having more life activates more triggers and then super annoying stuff. So we're running a couple of these. 3. All right, time for your amazing new Stussy card. Oh, this card's so sick. OP13 770 has blocker for 7,000. On play, if your leader has Egghead, so this will work with Bonney at the moment, and of course Vegapunk. So I'm going to be remaking that Vegapunk deck very soon. Play up to 1 character with 5 or less and trigger from your hand. So we have a bunch of trigger. So we have S Snake to throw out. Nice. So 6,000 power, stop someone from attacking. 5,000 power can KO something 5 or less. 6,000 power can KO something ASAP or later on. Really nice. And those are what we're running. Shaka, I think what's called Shaka? Yeah, Shaka. So yeah, this could throw out Shaka too if you were running it in your deck. It really depends on you. So just remember, this one is not a trigger. However, you play card with trigger, so it doesn't matter. You still get to activate your leader's ability with this. Oh, this card's so good. All right, running 4 of these. Now for the final card of your deck, Jewelry Bonney OP13. 10,000 brick. So you can see here we hardly have any bricks in our hand. Or in our deck, rather. On play, if your leader is Egghead, so once again, perfect for this leader and Vegapunk. This character gains rush, 10,000 rush. Then your opponent adds the top card of their life cards to their hand. You throw this out, they take it, and you get to rush. And then you keep a 10,000 on the board. super good. But here's why this card is insanely good. It has a trigger. Trigger, if you have 1 or less life, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. Now, obviously, when you play this for 9, you're going to be putting 2 Dawn on either your leader or another character on the board, so you get a lot of value already. This is a searchable by these Liliths here because it is Egghead, and it's searchable by this Lilith here because it's a trigger card. You have so many ways to get this, and if this thing hits as a trigger, I've played a duel recently where this thing hits, the opponent had 1 blocker left up, and I only had, like, my opponent KO'd this on the board, only my regular Jewelry Bonney was on the board, and then they hit my life. This ended up going off, and I rested one of their like 5-cost blockers, and then I was able to just put everything on body and go for a game. There's a lot of amazing scenarios where this is going to go off. Really amazing card. All right, guys. So yeah, when I was first seeing the Jewelry Bonney reveals, I was like, it's probably not going to be that crazy good. But honestly, because your leader is 5, and because you have so many triggers, it almost feels like I'm playing another version of the 5-cost Katakuri that was a huge menace back in the early days of One Piece. But now there's so many amazing more yellow cards that this just works out well, and it's a lot more consistent. While that other 5-drop Katakuri, 5-cost Katakuri was more of Big Mom and general cards. Well, this one just has so many stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and of course head on over to the website for more stuff. We're going to be covering every single leader. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.